you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O's, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O's, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Moore
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how have you been, my friend?
Busy.
I know that. Getting along in the move, though. It's starting to look good behind you there, Pierre.
We're getting there. 2 straight Mondays of moving trucks in front of our home, and we're getting it set up. I'm really proud of my wife.
Good stuff.
She's done a magnificent job in every single facet of this move, so I'm really proud of her.
Good for you. I wish you luck on the rest of the way there. Pierre, lots to get to in a bit here, but just want to say hi to our viewers and listeners there. Get your questions lined up. We're going to talk for about 10, 12 minutes and get right to you there on those questions since we're only on once a week now. But Pierre, it's not news really, but fans are excited. The schedule was released today, and one thing I'm excited about is I texted you guys earlier. The Boston Bruins and Montreal Canadiens will be playing on St. Patrick's Day at the Bell Center in March, and we will already get the plans going. I've already texted our good friend Stu Ashton to make sure that we will be at the McLean's Public House prior to that game. So looking forward to that, but there's some other great games on the docket there. One thing, not in terms of just games, but one thing, Pierre, that I want to ask you is, and I don't know if you can, I don't really think you can, right? But because of arena schedules and all that, but do you think there's enough of a break before and after the Olympics for the players to recover? Or do you think, could they've done that a little better, or is it where it needs to be?
No, they've done what they can do. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been through this since 02. So 02, 06, 10, 14, 18. That's a fair number. Plus I was around for 98.
Mm-hmm.
That's not like a small sample size. I don't think it's an issue.
Okay.
I don't think that'll be. Plus Sochi's a cool place. Sochi's not Milan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're going to a draconian part of the world. Pyeongchang is a nice place, but it's not Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the closest one would be Torino to Milan, and the Torino Olympics weren't a problem at all. It was a problem for Canada because they were bad. Their team was bad and they didn't play well, but it wasn't a problem for the players. So this won't be a problem either. Diets won't be affected. The accommodations will be great. Most of the players will stay in the Olympic Village anyways. It won't be an issue.
And one thing, Pierre, we didn't really touch on last week because it was just breaking, I believe, as we came on the air. But the new CBA there, anything to you that struck you is a great thing, or maybe this could have been better? Was there anything that stood out to you?
The best thing is the labor piece between Marty Walsh and Bill Daly and Gary Bettman.
I agree.
Ron Hainsey's part of this too, along with, Marty Walsh. They deserve a lot of credit on both sides. I've been in the league pretty much since 1990. This is probably the most, I would say, harmonious working relationship they've had. And that's not a knock on Paul Kelly, and that's not a knock on Bob Goodenow, and that's not a knock on any of the other people that have been involved over the years. But Marty, I think, has done a tremendous job creating relationships with people at the NHL, and I think it's worked extremely well.
Yeah, I have a story coming out. I did a one-on-one with Marty last Friday, and it's going to come out tomorrow on RG Pierre. And he said the exact same stuff as you. And he said what that was able to do, the fact that they got at it so soon, and they were able to really get the framework of it done really fast. That then allowed them to both sides to look into the nitty gritty, so to speak, right? The little things that maybe fans don't think about, but could mean a lot to players. And he said, sometimes when there is friction, those things get left out. And, and there are some of those things that maybe we don't think about as fans or media, but it does mean something to players. And he said that really allowed them to get those things done as well. And he was praising them left and right, and he's very happy. The one thing he said that he needed to get done, and the NHL was fine with it right off the bat. And I was surprised that this was going on. Did you know that the players were paying a payroll tax and also paying for their compensation? I never knew that. And he said that's very rare for a union to do that.
Yeah,
And he said, this is one thing that I need us to fix. And they fixed it. And he was grateful to the NHL that they fixed that. So.
yeah, no, they've got both sides gave and took.
Yep.
And they probably, I think, for their constituents, whether it's the players on the PA side or the owners on Bettman's side, Commissioner Bettman's side, they gave and they took. Both sides did. It's fine. You know, I'm sure the league would have liked to have seen longer time for unrestricted free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the players would have liked to have seen, you know, better stuff for them in terms of financial compensation. Here's the one thing the players need to know. There is going to be expansion.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get any of the expansion money, but they're going to have more jobs and careers are going to last longer because of it. And we've kind of dried up on expansion now for a little while. And because of that, we're starting to see players get punted from the league as they get close to 30. And part of that is because of the salary cap.
Yep.
Now the cap's going up, but they still want to have, these owners want to have younger players that are still on entry-level contracts.
Well, one thing, Pierre, that you and I, you know, have been very aware of and pointing out a lot this season, it was trying to figure out the TV numbers weren't that great at times. And there were question marks about where is this revenue going to come and how is that salary cap going to rise? One thing I found interesting, Pierre, with Marty was that he insisted on a 4-year deal as opposed to 8 or 10.
Yeah.
And the reason being, because he knows things could fluctuate with the economy right now. It may not go as planned. And then you let yourself out after 4 years to adjust accordingly.
I think that was really smart. They didn't need to go 8. I think 4 is good.
Yep.
You know, you think about it, it's perfect. Most players' careers don't last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the upper echelon guys will, but most guys, no. It's hard to get 400 games is a major Mendoza line for all these guys. It's hard for them to get to 400 games. It really is.
Yeah, we were just talking about people's careers off the air there and how short it can be. All right, Pierre, a couple things. There hasn't been too much movement in terms of trades. Bowen Byram gets the 2-year contract extension there, which will walk him right into free agency. Are you surprised that the Sabres allowed it to end that way where he can go straight into free agency?
They need to make the playoffs. So whomever they traded Bowen Byram to, they weren't getting equal compensation.
Yeah. I guess they want to player for player from what I heard.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So one of the strengths of their team is defense. Mm-hmm. Byram's part of that.
Yep.
You know, when you look at Rasmus Dahlin and you look at Owen Power and you look at getting Michael Kesselring, and now, you know, you keep Bowen Byram, you look at the depth they have on defense, it's pretty good. It's probably the strength of their team.
Guy, what's his name they drafted? Who's the big Czech guy they signed him?
Yeah, but he's not playing for that team. It doesn't matter. Murtka.
Yeah,
Murtka,
but eventually.
But that doesn't matter. Jimmy, focus.
Stay in the right now. Okay.
You're talking about the Buffalo Sabres this year where market credibility is a big problem.
Yeah.
It's a huge, Jimmy, I'm telling you, I know a lot of people who live in Western New York and they love hockey and they love the Sabres. The Sabres need to earn their trust. And the only way they're doing that is by making the playoffs or being realistically capable of competing for a playoff spot.
Are you surprised that them and, say, the Detroit Red Wings, who also missed the playoffs, haven't made it since 2016? Are you surprised at how quiet overall they've been on the trade market so far?
Very much.
Me
now,
too.
I will say this, getting Gibson from Anaheim was good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gibson will help them in goal. That was one of the areas they needed to stabilize. It's not because they don't have goalies in their program. They do, starting with Sebastian Casa, Trent Augustine, and Connor. There's just a lot of guys. Carter Guylander's another one just off the top of my head. So they got guys coming. Augustine and Casa are probably their 2 best prospects. But they need somebody now. Like, they can't wait for 2 years. They need somebody now. Jimmy, Detroit and Buffalo both have to make big pushes.
Yeah.
They both do. And I'll tell you, in the other division, in the Metro, Philly needs to make a big push. They can say whatever they want, and you know how close I am and how much respect I have for Rick Tocchet, but they need enough. They need to make a push. Stop They're dominating social media. They're good at it, and I give them total credit and respect. They need to get real here.
Yeah. And I think they need, and we've discussed this, Pierre, and I think you agree with me. I think they need to mold the team a little more after a Rick Tocchet type team. I don't see that enough.
I think I think it's a good point by you, but I think Danny Briere knows that. Keith Jones definitely knows that.
Right.
I don't think they could have hired Rick Tocchet had they not explained to him what their vision was. This is what we want to do.
Okay.
Because Rick, I in my heart of hearts, I think Rick would have had other options, but I think his heart led him back to Philly. I believe that in my soul. I do.
And staying in the Metro Division, Pierre, we've been very critical of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and rightfully so, but I'll give credit where it's due. I love that they were able to get Silovs from Vancouver. I'm a big fan of that kid. He was great, obviously, in the Calder Cup playoffs. We liked what we saw in that small sample size we got in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. I think that was a good get by them going forward.
That's a great comment by you, and I completely agree. It was a steal. It really was. Vancouver that knew they were between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
So they had no choice. They had, but like I think about last year, and I said this to you last year, when they let Casey DeSmith go to unrestricted free agency, he signed with Dallas. If you look at the injuries they had in Vancouver this year in goal, that was a big loss for them. It's a major, major loss for them. Silovs will be a big loss for them. I think long-term they'll figure it out because they've got a lot of prospects coming. So to their credit, internally, they kind of know what they have. Most fans don't, unless you're a family or a friend of the goalie that's there. And they're not a lot of big names, but they've got some guys that are pretty talented coming. The one thing I'd say is that I think Vancouver will be better this year. I think the drama's kind of out of their room now.
Yeah, the cloud is kind of lifted.
Yeah, just the drama's gone. And I think Adam Foote will stabilize a lot of things.
And then finally, Pierre, before we do get to our Q&A here, Edmonton Oilers made some coaching changes, assistant coaches, that is. A little surprise, Mark Stewart's not still there. I thought he did a great job, Pierre.
Well, with the PK, he definitely did. I don't know what went on there. I have not spoken with Stan Bowman, so don't know. Chris Knobloch's still a coach. They got a lot of heavy lifting there. I think there's a lot. Everybody would agree in that marketplace, there's a lot of unfinished business. I think the players know that too. And they better get it done this year, because if they don't, I think the window closes amazingly fast there. Amazingly fast.
They have a new goaltending coach, and reportedly maybe even have one more or two more, because they're looking at maybe doing a committee type thing from what I read, Pierre. But what they don't have yet is another goalie, and they still have the same two guys. When Silovs went to Pittsburgh, the immediate thought in our heads, we were texting each other, was, do we see maybe Tristan Jarry on the way out? Do you think maybe he can end up in Edmonton?
Why not? He played junior there, and he was really good. He was Western Hockey League player or goalie of the year. I mean, he was really good there. Again, I don't know where, like, unfinished business-wise, Tristan's got a lot to prove. And I like him a lot as a person. And I really thought the world of him when he turned pro. But he hadn't, the last couple of years, hadn't been good.
It's been tough.
You got to call it the way it is. It's tough for him. It's really tough. I think Edmonton, more than anything else, as much as they want to focus on the goalie, they got to get this Connor McDavid stuff put to bed.
Yeah.
Because we have to be fair here, you and I, Jimmy. And I think last year we talked about the importance of getting Crosby signed to an extension. Because if they didn't, when you looked at the start of last year for Pittsburgh, into Detroit, into Toronto, into Montreal, all the original 6 cities, major media focus. Why isn't Crosby signed? They keep beating the drum all the time. And Mike Sullivan knew, it was a very precarious position for him as a coach, because you don't want to be focusing on that every day, especially when you're dealing with a deck that's not exactly stacked, and their team wasn't stacked. Pittsburgh's missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. Probably going to miss again 4 years in a row. So, but they have Crosby signed. He's a more valuable asset as a signed player than he is as an unsigned player.
Yeah.
That's the good news. Edmonton's got to figure out what they're doing with Connor McDavid. Because if this thing goes a little bit longer, he's not signed and this training camp starts, no focus on the team. There'll be a lot of wasted emotional energy on what's going on with Connor. Why aren't they getting Connor signed? Connor doesn't want to stay here. It becomes a negative cesspool, and it's no fun for anybody.
Yeah, especially in a Canadian market too, just because that's all they talk about is hockey. It's going to be the same questions to him every time after practice and games. I'm with you on that. And by the way, Pierre, before we get to the Q&A and sticking with Pittsburgh there, can we just, and it's already starting, there's no conspiracy theory that Gavin McKenna is going to Pittsburgh. The league isn't trying to set it up that way. Let's just kill that now.
Who said that?
A certain veteran Hall of Fame writer based in New York City. That's how I'll leave it. And I thought that was a little, I don't know. I think said that's better than that.
I want to make sure I understand this. So people think that Gavin McKenna is going to end up in Pittsburgh because he went to Penn State?
No, they think that Gavin McKenna will basically, like, they're looking at it as this writer proposed this, that Crosby will get traded towards the end of the season or at the deadline, and then they'll be able to transition into McKenna, and they'll get McKenna, and it will be from Mario to Crosby to McKenna, because that's how the league wants it, and they want them to get their guy.
No, I mean, I could see something like that too if Pittsburgh ended up poorly, but you still have to win the lottery.
Exactly.
You know, I was there in 2005. I'll never forget it. The 3rd overall pick was owned by Carolina. The 2nd overall pick was owned by Anaheim. The 1st pick ended up going to Pittsburgh. I can tell you right now, Jimmy Rutherford, he wanted the 1st pick. He didn't get it, so he got Jack Johnson. The 2nd pick was Anaheim. I was in the room with Gord Miller and Bob McKenzie and James Duthie. Trust me, I remember it clear as day. The 2nd pick, it wasn't what Anaheim wanted. Brian Burke was a GM. They got Bobby Ryan. Okay? The 1st pick, Craig Patrick, he was really happy. He knew exactly what he was getting.
Yeah. That was me. But I don't think there's there's ways to fix it. I hate it when people say that. That's all. I had to get that.
I think the theory actually makes a lot of sense. So if you're talking about Larry Brown, I have no problem. Like, he's allowed to have that. That's fine. Here's what I'll say. The draft lottery is not fixed.
Thank you.
People say whatever they want. It's not fixed.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. You've been on the inside. So that's coming from a man.
It's not fixed. Now, in order to win it, you got to be a bad team. So there are going to be some bad teams this year.
Yep.
There are going to be more bad teams than people think this year, because a lot of managers are trying to, but there's only one thing I can tell you for sure. If you're the GM of a team that could potentially be a bad team, you better have a 1st round pick. You better. You better not have miscalculated 2 years ago and traded it away thinking you had a chance because you didn't know how good Gavin McKenna was going to be. Because if you didn't know, you should have been watching this show.
Yep. And by the way, for those that weren't watching that show, I'll just remind them that Pierre was trying to tell everybody, calm down with the offer sheet mania here. Enough of the hype about that. And the main reason, Pierre, was because who wants to trade a 2026 pick? Who wants to give that away?
You're not giving it away. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. That's why we're not seeing offer sheet.
Jimmy, we can show. We have the receipts. We can show the show. I'm like, who comes up with this stuff? Like, did any of these people that are rating this stuff actually work in the league? Do they not understand how this works?
Right. And so that's where we are right now. All right, let's talk about Betway, our wonderful sponsor. You can still go all the way with Betway and get up to $200 credit on your first bet, even if you lose. That's right. You can get paid to lose. So go over there right now, create your new account with the QR code right in front of you, or go to the details section on the website, and you can do so there and redeem your welcome offer. Terms and conditions apply. One of those terms is it is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 plus and always bet responsibly. All right, let's get to the Q&A. What do we got? Alex Ivanowski. How you doing, Alex? Do you think Erik Karlsson would be a good mentor for Detroit's young D core? I'm torn. I worry about somebody like Pelika picking up bad habits on the defensive side.
Sandin Pellikka is who he's talking about, another Swedish defenseman who's dominated the last 2 World Juniors. I wouldn't be bringing Erik Karlsson there to be a mentor to anybody. I'd be bringing Erik Karlsson there to run the power play and be a good first pass defenseman who's going to get between 15 and 18 minutes a game. That's it. That's all.
Yep.
And so I'm not bringing him there to be a leader. I'm bringing him there to be a power play guy. There are other guys that can mentor Sandin Bellica.
Yeah.
Simon Edvinsson can do that. Maurice Sider can do that. Dylan Larkin can do that. Patrick Kane can do that.
Right.
No, I don't need Erik Karlsson to do that. I need Erik Karlsson to play.
Yep. I'm with you on that. And by the way, speaking of Erik Karlsson, Pierre, as you suggested weeks ago, maybe even months ago, keep an eye on Toronto there. And now the rumors are running wild that they are in the hunt for Erik Karlsson. All right, next question. Juice_031017. He's got a new avatar there. Pierre, thoughts on Dale Hunter being named head coach? That's right, of Team Canada at the World Juniors next year.
This reminds me so much when Brent Sutter was named as head coach back in the mid 2000s. So we're talking Brent was 05. Canada lost in 04, and they lost on an own goal. Marc-Andre Fleury shot the puck into one of his teammates, and it went in, and Patrick O'Sullivan got credit for the Americans. Al Montoya played amazing, by the way, for the Americans in goal. It's the first time the Americans won World Junior Gold. And the year before that, it was Ovechkin and his Russian teammates. Ovechkin is a 16-year-old winning in Halifax in the gold medal game against a Canadian team that was coached by Mark Habscheid that was phenomenal. So Canada had lost the last two. You look at the last two performances for Canada at the World Junior, not very good. So they go to the hardcore, in-your-face, no-nonsense, Memorial Cup winning guy.
Yep.
Just like when they brought Brent Sutter in 05 and 06, their Dale Hunter's coming in, no messing around, let's go play. I love this hire for Canada. I'm a huge fan of the Hunter brothers because when you get Dale, you get Mark. And when you get Mark, you get an amazing eye for evaluating talent. It's a fantastic thing for Hockey Canada.
I'm with you 100%
Really
on that.
Really good.
All right, next question. Moment of clarity. Which team could win gold besides Canada and the U.S. at the Olympics, I'm imagining?
I wouldn't look past Sweden.
I was just going to say.
No,
Sweden.
too much depth in defense. They got some goaltending. I wouldn't look past Sweden. Finland will be tough. Finland's always tough because they play so much structure. With the Russians not being there, it's hard to say if there's anybody else. I don't think Czechia can compete and win gold, and I don't think Slovakia can win gold. So I would say that probably the big four there will be Finland, Sweden, Canada, U.S. But I do think the Finns can cause problems.
Yeah.
They always do. Internationally, they always cause problems
to play against.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Narig Haviters. Good afternoon, guys. We keep talking about 2C for the Habs. A couple names that might be interesting. Barrett Hayton, or as a stopgap, maybe Chandler Stevenson. Thoughts on those guys fitting that role?
Yeah, I wouldn't have Barrett.
Great.
I like Chandler Stevenson in that thought. Stanley Cup winner, a guy that's been around, multiple Stanley Cup winner actually in Washington and in Vegas. I like him a lot. Like him as a person. Like him as a player. I don't know what Seattle's planning on doing. I mean, you would know better than me, maybe, but Barrett Hayton, I don't think is ready for that job. Yeah. No, I would say not on him, but on Chandler, yes.
Okay. Next question. Brad K. What's up, Brad? Pierre, I have a friend, Alan, who is a diehard Pens fan and was just diagnosed with cancer. He just finished his chemo and has an invasive procedure coming. Could you send him your well wishes? Brad, we are thinking of him for sure.
Brad, do me a favor. Get your friend's contact intel, get it to Jimmy, and I will stay in daily contact with your friend. Please.
Brad, hit me up on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Murphy's Law 74 is my handle. And if I'm not following you, follow me, and I'll follow you right back.
I will. I promise you. As soon as I get it, I'll get right in touch with your friend.
Yeah. All right. And good luck to him. All right.
Yeah, we're thinking of him.
Next question. Ethan Russell, do you think the Hurricanes' current defensive core is better than last year's defensive core?
So how about this? I was talking to a real good hockey guy that I really respect, and I said, I'm not worried about last year's team. Brent Burns is gone. Like he was a big part of it. He and Jacob Slavin were the matchup guys, so he's gone now to Colorado. But what about the year before? Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, and And now look at you lose Burns. So you lost 3 of your top 6, and you traded Morrow away, who you were counting on being one of your bright young players. Jimmy, I'm going to say it again. Last year was a referendum on analytics in Carolina. It was. You can, analytic people continue to bash. It's okay. I don't read your stuff. I have people tell me. It's okay. Do what you want. You tell me the next time you win the Stanley Cup. Okay? That's all I want to know.
And Pierre, with Carolina too, it's as you listed all his defensemen, I'm thinking in my head, man, they've had a lot of turnover on that blue line. And if you 3 years ago, would you have looked at that team, Pierre, and said that the blue line is the problem? I wouldn't have. I would have said they needed centers, but not the blue line.
No, I would not. I agree with you.
All right. Next question. Vincent Yoyal. Hello, gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying your summer. Thank you, Vincent. You too. Question: what does the eye test look like when examining coaches? That's a good question. Are you looking for a calm demeanor, poise in big games, discipline at practice? I'd say all of the above, Pierre.
I don't worry about the calm demeanor. Sometimes I think that's a bunch of blowhard stuff.
Sometimes you need a guy.
The slick back hairstyle and the nice tie and the beautiful suit, hands in front of you, and you're an empty suit. I don't care about that. Jacques Demers didn't act that way. Scotty was demonstrative on the bench. Pat Burns was amazingly demonstrative. Mike Keenan, he was unbelievably demonstrative. Pat Quinn, no problem there. Ken Hitchcock, come on. I don't pay attention to that. That's all like for TV. I don't care about that stuff. I want to see a coach that makes his team better during the year. I want to see a coach that makes his players better during the year. I want to see a coach that knows how to manipulate the media when it comes to sending messages to the opposition and to the rest of the league, or to the decision makers of the league when it comes to suspensions. I want to see a coach that can actually communicate properly with his players behind closed doors. And you can see that with the effort level of the players from game to game to game. So that's what I want to see. This other stuff, all this stuff is because of social media. And it's so absurd. It's grotesque. There are a lot of, I can tell you this right now, and I'm comfortable saying it. There are a lot of guys that got head jobs in this league 15 years ago. They never would have had a chance to get a head job in this league.
Bruce Cassidy, I think, does everything you said there. So he's done a good job with that method. All right, next question. Pearl of Wisdom, is this McTavish and Robinson trade talk more about establishing market value than actually wanting to trade the player? That's a great question.
Really good question. I love Perlo's stuff is so spot on. It's good. I think the Mason McTavish stuff's being leaked by the agent. I do. And I don't care. He's got a job to do for his client. I really have no problem with that. Okay. So if there were, I just want to ask this question to all those people that were saying, oh, all these offer sheets are going to be coming. It's going to be wild, wild west stuff. What date today? The 16th of July?
Yep.
How many offer sheets have there been? Oh, okay.
I'm with you. All right. Next question. Ethan Russell, any words where Roslovic may land? I was hoping Boston can sign him on July 1st to add some offensive scoring, but they spend that money on a fourth liner.
No. I think if anything, he ends up in Toronto. He's really good friends with Austin Matthews from the U.S. National Team Development Program. I'm not saying he's replacing Mitchell Marner because I don't think he is. No. But he gives them quality depth. The one guy, and I know I talked about it with you, Jimmy, is Michelli coming in, or Michelli, I should say, coming in. He's good. I'm telling you, he's way undervalued, Jimmy.
I know.
He's way undervalued.
So, Pierre, last year we said it was the goalie, also done by Toronto there.
Stolarz.
Yep. And now maybe they get the next under-the-radar pickup of the summer.
Yeah, they're different. They traded for this guy. That's the only difference. Yeah. Stolarz was a UFA.
Right.
They traded for this guy. But, again, he's a top six forward. Yeah. People can say, oh, he doesn't do this and that. He makes plays.
Yeah.
He's a good – so –
great pickup.
Roslovic, I don't know. He's going to be playing in the league next year. I think he's a better winger than a center. His relationship with Matthews could help him with Toronto. If I were betting, I'd say probably Toronto more than Boston.
All right. Next question. Franco, what does the Veleno, signing mean for players like Beck and Kapanen? Good question.
Very good. So I was it's funny because I usually make lists. And one of the lists I made was what this does to Beck and what it does to Kapanen.
There you go. Great minds think alike.
No, it's an awesome one. And so I'm looking at it right now and I'm saying, okay, let's just talk about this for 1 second. Phil LeCavalier is the agent for Joe Veleno. Phil LeCavalier played at Clarkson. Phil LeCavalier's brother is Vincent LeCavalier. Vincent LeCavalier works for the Montreal Canadiens. His agent was Ken Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Veleno is tied in to the Canadiens through brotherhood.
Yep.
Phil LeCavalier worked for Ken Hughes at Cortex. He represents Joe Veleno.
I know.
So all those other guys. So this is what I do during the day.
Yep.
Some people play.
Connect the dots.
Yeah, you find out. Okay, well, I know he's a Montreal kid. I know he played for Lac St. Louis. I know he was a great player in the Q. His last year in junior in Drummondville, he was phenomenal. Everybody talked about him. He was great. I know I used to play in St. John, so I get it. I know it all. But the truth is, this guy has not achieved to those levels in the NHL. No. But he's getting a last chance Texaco. He's getting a last chance in Montreal. Yeah. And I respect the Canadiens for giving a Montreal kid a chance like that. I really do.
All right, next question. Ryan Bosworth, what's up, Ryan? Speaking of goaltending, looking at Boston's situation, could you see a Korpisalo trade to make room for DiPietro or vice versa? Could either goaltender yield a beneficial return for Boston? I think DiPietro would yield more. I don't think they can move Korpisalo.
I'm saying nothing because we talked about this
long time ago. Yep.
When you got Korpisalo, you got him. You own him.
Yep.
You're not going anywhere.
That's a tough cap hit to take on for any team right now.
Not going anywhere.
And here's the thing, Pierre. Okay, so what happens when they have to send DiPietro down on waivers? You think he's a goner? I do too. So that's why maybe they trade him. Like I'll give
no. What they did was, they put DiPietro on a one-way contract.
Right. So then the other team has to pick up that, and then are they going to want to?
So that would make somebody think, do I really want to do this? I'm not sure I want to do.
Because then you got to pay him $8.12, even if he's in the A, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's.
Oh, interesting. All right.
So I give Donnie credit on that. That was well thought out.
That was a smart move. Yeah. All right. Next question. A moment of clarity. Are the Panthers still the best team right now?
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They're the champs. They're the two-time champs. Been in the final 3 years in a row. My biggest thing, and it's a lot like this year, and I got it wrong, so I'll be totally blunt. I thought the Four Nations face-off would crush them because of injury and fatigue. It didn't. And what saved them, Kachuk going in LTIR, they were able to make the trade for Seth Jones, who hasn't played a meaningful game in forever, till this year, and it worked out. And they were also able to get Brad Marchand. And if it weren't for Kachuk having that issue, it wouldn't have worked. Yep. So Florida's still the best team.
They are.
They are still the best team.
When you look around the league, Pierre, is there a team that stands out to you that could dethrone them?
I want to see what Vegas does with Mitchell. And I said this on the great Jim Rome show. And I don't want to get Montreal Canadiens fans all crazy, but I wouldn't sleep on the Montreal Canadiens. I wouldn't sleep on Montreal. I think Montreal is being built properly. I think Montreal's got way more organizational depth than people understand. Those draft picks that they already used for players, that's real life collateral in the NHL. Everybody knows how good that prospect pool is. If Montreal has a need at the trade deadline, they got more than enough guys that they could trade away to get whatever that need is, and it doesn't hurt the infrastructure of their team at all. I wouldn't sleep on Montreal at all.
Pierre, I know, I'm pretty sure you did discuss this last week a bit with Melnick. But if just for our listeners and viewers, how do you help these younger guys handle the increased expectation now? How do you handle that?
Yeah, they went through what last year with Washington. I thought they handled it really well. I think they saw what Florida did. I think they saw how close Toronto was to taking Florida out in the second round. So I think you learn from watching that. They had a good record against Florida this year. They had some big wins against Florida, both in Florida and also in Montreal. I think that helps. I think the biggest thing, though, is just the experience. And Bolduc had a really good playoff.
Oh, yeah.
Bolduc coming over from St. Louis. He had a really good playoff for St. Louis, even though they lost a Game 7 to Winnipeg. So I think that was huge for them. And to me, the biggest thing when I look at it, Noah Dobson coming in, he's not going to be intimidated. He's played in New York. I mean, he's been in the playoffs. He's not going to be intimidated by this.
I don't know if this is just a random thought I had, Pierre. And I don't even know if he has experience doing it or not. But obviously the big thing, we already brought it up, is the 2C situation with the Habs. Could you ever see them moving Bolduc to the middle?
They've talked about it. I don't think that's his natural position.
Yeah.
And people will love him in Montreal for this. His forecheck ability is really good.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're a centerman, you're more locked into being that 200-foot player. So you're usually not the first guy in on the forecheck. So you're taking an element out of his game, which I don't think the Canadiens want to take out of. I can't even imagine. So if you look at Montreal, if they ever get Slavkovsky to establish himself physically and move his feet consistently, then you go Bolduc, then you got Josh Anderson, then you got Brendan Gallagher. I mean, you're not fun to play against because every line's got somebody who's going to smash you.
That's a good team.
They are a good team.
Yeah. All right, next question. Stephen Cardinal, hey guys, do you think Edmonton might be looking at Dobis as a possibility for their goaltending problems?
They could,
but I'd be around. I mean, it can't hurt, but I don't.
No, but I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think
he hasn't. How do you prove that he's better than Stuart Skinner? You don't know. You don't know that. You don't know whether he's better than Calvin Pickard or not. You don't know.
Yeah.
So,
all right, next question. Chris TV, question for Pierre. I know you watch a lot of college hockey, and there's no one I trust more than you, Pierre. What is your scouting report on William Horkoff?
Really smart, very good two-way player, probably better defensively than offensively, a little bit like Patrice Bergeron, not as good. I think Bergie's offensive game got better and better as he was around the league more. I see a lot of his father in his game.
Ask you if you did, yeah.
His dad was a very good player. I broadcast a lot of his dad's games, whether it was out in Edmonton or even obviously in Detroit. I think the biggest thing is he's a coaching guy, like a guy that understands. He's not going to frustrate coaches. He's going to be a really smart player for you.
Good. All right, next question. Faux fum. I heard somewhere that most NHL teams will be playing 15 to 17 back-to-backs. Is there any talk of adding maybe a 24th player on the roster just for this year? No, I haven't heard it.
No, but I think Montreal's got 17 back-to-backs, if I remember correctly. I think Montreal
the season with a back-to-back, actually.
Yeah, so a lot of them are like 15, 16, 17 right in there to this point. So that's right. Yeah. No, they're not adding anybody else. No.
All right, next question. John Smith, how much longer can the Habs bury Beck in the minors? Wasn't he a late cut 2 years ago? I think he's ready.
We agree, but Joe, internally they probably have unbelievable reports on the player, and we'll see how it plays out. I don't think the Canes are done making moves. I still think they're making moves. I don't think you start the year with Newhook as a number 3 center, and right now that's where you'd have him. On the line, the list that I have that I made this morning, I didn't have Owen Beck on my roster. I had Owen Beck as a second call-up. I have him as a first forward call-up. I have him as a second call-up behind Reinbacher.
All right. And what did your center position look like, Pierre?
Suzuki, Doc, Newhook, Evans right now, but I don't think
it's going to stay that way, though, huh?
I don't think it's changing staying that way.
All right. Next question. Renaissance Resistor, how you doing? What package would it take to get McTavish?
Yeah, so Anaheim's going to want, I'll tell you right now, they're going to want a good D. And Montreal already traded a good D, Mayu, to get Bolduc. So I don't think you want to give Reinbacher right now. I just think that takes away from what you're doing. They'll want a good forward. Maybe it's Beck. I don't know. They'll want a good forward to replace McTavish, and they'll probably want a high draft pick. So
I don't think Anaheim's in any rush to move it, Pierre. I'm with you. I think this is the
you
agent.
want all the cards. That's what everybody, and I get it. Look, his agent's got a responsibility too to try to enhance marketplace for him. So I understand that.
And I think Anaheim is probably insisting on a bridge deal too, instead of long term, knowing Pat Verbeek.
I would do the other way.
I would too. I'm with you, but knowing Verbeek and his track record, he just hand out the long term easily, Pierre.
No, but those players are more. If you don't like the player after a while, they're more valuable when they have contract time than when they don't. Especially with the cap going up, you'd rather have a player sign for longer term, but you don't put in the sugar. You don't put in the no move or the no trade, any of those things. It's better to have. That's why I told you when all these guys all these guys were getting contracts 3 and 4 years, they were taking less money, more term.
Right.
Because they're more valuable. If you have to move the player, they're more valuable with time on their contract. Without it's totally changed because the cap's going up. If the cap wasn't going up, you wouldn't worry about that.
Did the Byram signing? Did they hurt his trade value if they have to trade him down the line by doing that?
You said it the best. You're walking him into UFA.
Yeah.
So that, yeah. But I'm going to say right now, I think the agent dominated that negotiation.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Big Bill, Murph and Pierre. Guess you heard Joe Veleno. Yep. Signed a 1-year contract with the Habs today. Where do you see him in their current lineup? And do you see him as a center? We already addressed. I think he starts in Laval, but maybe he comes up at some point if he earns it. But
no, Jimmy, he can't. No. If he starts in Laval, you're going to have to get him through waivers.
Oh, okay.
And so he's making less than $1 million a year. So I don't see that. So
the thing that we discussed with DPH, though, wouldn't apply there?
No, DPH is different. He's a goalie.
Because he's a goalie. Okay.
And it's different.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I would say Veleno's going to probably start with the big team as a depth player and work his way in.
All right. Next question. Sean Myers, if Toronto doesn't do anything else, are they a bubble team?
I don't agree with that either. I heard that today or yesterday. I forget. I still think Toronto's a top 3 team in the division. I could be wrong, but that depth down the middle, start with Matthews, go to Tavares, then you go with Nicholas Roy, and you have Scott Laughton in the 4-hole. Tell me how many teams have even, I would say, like Thomas Nosek was a number 4 center on a Stanley Cup winning team. He's a really good player. Scott Laughton and him, you put them in go play against each other. Let's see who wins. It's probably 50-50.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you that their center ice depth is good. They haven't lost anything on the back end, and they added Henry Thrun. I still think they're going to add something else up front. Michelli is way undervalued, way undervalued.
They have a healthy goaltending,
I think Toronto's going to be tough again.
I think they're in good shape. All right, next question. Randy Workman, what would cost the Habs to get Kadri?
Jimmy, you take this one. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I'll just tell you right now, I don't think the Habs are going after Kadri. Why are they going to take on those years, that term, that money? I just don't think there's anything to that right now. That might be true, that he may want to come to Montreal or to Toronto, like the reports were saying, but I don't know if the interest is mutual right now in terms of that.
I think Naz is great.
It's not an knock on Naz. I'm with Pierre. Yeah.
No, I would have Naz on my team in a second because he's a winner. Naz is a winner. He's a hardcore guy and he's a winner. But I don't know what Montreal does. No.
Yeah, I just don't see the fit there. That's all. It's nothing against the player. It's just not the fit at the right time. All right, next question. Dave Robinson, what's up, Dave? For Pierre, any guys you consider underrated fighters? It wasn't where they wanted to go night in and night out, but they could have if they had to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, over time. Yeah, I don't want to look at a lot of these guys are the ones I coached, they're retired. So it's not fair to them and their families, but yeah.
Yep. All right, next question. Rodney Redcliffe. Hi, guys. If the Habs can get Philip Forsberg, what would they have to give up to get him?
Substantial amount. Yeah. But he's a game changer.
That's huge if you can get.
Yeah, that's Philip Forsberg.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Yeah.
Now, Reed Haviters, hey, Jimmy, speaking to Gorton and knowing him as long as you have, do you get the sense he's really enjoying this process with the Habs as much as he seems to be? Yes, 100%. He's loving it.
I vouch for Jimmy, 100%.
Yes.
Yep.
It's fun to talk to him. All right, next question. Juice _031017. Pierre, how much attention do you pay to the Hlinka Gretzky Cup tournament in August?
I always watch.
New scouting season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I always watch. Back in the day, it wasn't called that, but I used to go to a lot of those events when I was working. Even when I was coaching the league, I'd go. It's a great event. I watch. Yep.
All right. Next question. Juice again. Pierre, how many interview shows do you do in a week during the season and also the off season?
A lot. I love it though.
Yeah.
My wife asks me that all the time, and I tell her, the biggest thing for me is I really enjoy working with Jimmy. I don't want to embarrass Jimmy, but I love working with Jimmy. I love working with Mitch Melnick. CBS has treated me amazingly well. And Jimmy knows this. I've loved working for CBS this year, and I'm so excited to have signed a contract with them. Working for Bet Rivers in Toronto has been amazing. I do so much stuff in Pittsburgh that I love doing. Working with Tony on the Canes post-game shows. We started that last January. It's been great. And I love being with Max Lapierre on those shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of them. But I love doing it.
He does.
And my wife talked to me about this the other day. We were sitting outside and she goes, do you miss getting on the plane every day? And I said, kinda. I kind of do, but this helps me overcome that.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. And Pierre, I wanted to just a quick one for me to follow up on that. And it's amazing that you're able to know so much about every market. But what is it like for you when you're being brought in? You're the guy getting an interview in a different market. You're in Montreal. You're in Toronto. What's that like to just get the vibes of the different markets?
It's so cool. It's such a good question too. So I love that's one of the reasons I love doing it, because Toronto's such a viable market. Mm-hmm. I love going on with our friend Rick Dollywall out in Vancouver, because that's such a dynamic market, So yes, I love hearing the energy and the passion in the different markets.
Yeah,
I think it's really important. Sometimes you got to calm everybody down. Sometimes you got to give them a swift kick in the butt because they overrate their team.
Yeah. So
that's kind of, you're like not the interloper. You're just coming in from the outside saying, here's how we see it from the outside.
Right. This is the objective point of view.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. I think we got time for about 3 more. Pete, question. Following the Dobson trade, I've seen an overwhelming amount of Islanders fans coverage seemingly celebrating the trade and criticizing his defensive game. Legit concern or sour grapes?
I talked about this when they got him. I think it's a little bit of sour grapes, but where he needs to be better. And I said this a million times. I said it to his junior coach, and he was on with Jeff Merrick and I said, look, offensively and first pass ability wise, he's good. He's really good. But from the hash marks to the icing line and from the icing line to the goalpost, he's got to be better. And it's going to be really important for him to be better. And that's where Stefan Robida has to work with him and make him better. And I think they can.
All right. Next question. Renaissance Resistor, outside of Reinbacher, who are the most valuable prospects in the pool now for the Habs?
Well, Beck's got to be considered one. Jack Guy's got to be considered one. Michael Hayes has to be considered one. That's just to start. There are a lot. I mean, if you want to count Demidov.
I was just going to say, do you count Demidov? I mean, even though he's on the roster.
Demidov's got to be considered one.
Yep.
So, no, there's Jacob Fowler.
Yep. Jacob Fowler.
I think, you know what? I could get it wrong. I'm pretty confident I won't. I think Jacob Fowler is going to be amazing.
Yep.
I really do. With the right coaching, his athleticism is so good. I think Jacob's going to be, he's going to cover up whatever mistakes they make. A lot like, I'm not saying he's Bobrovsky, please don't. But when Florida made mistakes, and they make a lot because they play that aggressive pinch game, they give up a lot of odd man rushes. They turn the puck over because they're not afraid to take chances. Their goalie has to bail them out.
Yep.
I think Fowler's going to be one of those guys that can bail his team out, like Carey Price used to do.
Gordon and I talked about that, Pierre, and one of the things that struck me, what he said about Fowler, he's like, I love his swagger and his confidence, but it's not like a cocky swagger and confidence. It's just the perfect amount that you need to be a number one guy.
I've seen him so much. You know, it reminds me again. I'm not trying to put the hex on the kid. It reminds me of going to watch Marty Berger when I was scouting.
Yep.
You know, very much.
Yep. All right. Next question. Ethan Russell, do you see the Rangers making the playoffs? So much talk about on social media about them making upgrades this offseason, and I'm questioning what were the upgrades. I don't see them being much better. Ethan, we're 100% with you. We agree.
I can't wait to watch the Rangers.
They're
I think one thing I will say, I think the coaching staff there with Mike Sullivan and David Quinn and Joe Sacco, I think that's good for them. They're going to bring a lot of energy, and that's not a knock on the last staff. It's just that last staff had to deal with a lot of stuff that wasn't their fault.
Drama.
Yeah, it wasn't their fault. So Peter Laviolette, Phil Housley, Michael Pekka, Dan Muse, all that stuff wasn't their fault. That stuff came from outside, and I'm going to say it came from upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen with Mike Sullivan there. I don't see that stuff happening.
I think they're a big question mark, but I think it's good for the league if they.
I can't wait to watch him. I think Mike's a really good coach, and I like his staff. So we'll see.
All right, final question. Ryan Bosworth again. Appreciate you guys answering my first question. I'll offer you a follow-up. Considering Edmonton's goaltending concerns, do you see them calling on DiPietro? I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
So one of the things that I do know, Jeff Jackson's an Ontario guy. DiPietro's an Ontario Hockey League guy.
Yeah.
They have I would be willing to venture, they've got a pretty significant book on Michael DiPietro.
Good
I would
catch.
say that.
Great catch. All right. Good stuff, guys. We appreciate your questions. Always a pleasure. And to everyone else there also listening and watching, we appreciate you. Shane, great job as always up in Montreal on the boards. And Pierre, good luck in the unpacking. I
Next time we do this, I'll be talking to you from Mont Tremblant, Quebec.
Already.
So
All right.
I'm looking forward to that. But every Wednesday, keep it coming. And Jimmy, thank you for your efforts and being so – Jimmy, I got to tell the viewers out there, Jimmy works so hard at being ready for these shows every week. And maybe sometimes I'm a curmudgeon because I get after him like, you're not doing this right. You're not. But he always is there with a smile on his face. So, Jimmy, way to go. Your professionalism is awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate your support, Pierre.
Yep.
And as you know, I'm going through some things, and you've been there as a friend, so I appreciate it.
Good job.
All right. Great show. We will talk to you next week here in the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.